Okay. ते स्क्रीन मोठी करून दे का तिकडे. ते विजय खालचं विजय. हा ते विजय लिहिलंय ते निळं वळण खालचं. हा हा बस. आणि वरचा लाईट लावून दे समोरचा आणि हा खिडकीकडचा बंद करून दे आणि इकडे चालू करून दे भिंतीकडचा. समोरचा पाहिजे आणि साईडचा पाहिजे. बस जमला. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Car that claims to run on air and water, and there's a bit of aluminum involved. Now, this car normally has a range of only about 100 kilometers, but with this battery in case, it has a range of 1,000 kilometers. The technology is new. The battery that has been developed by this company for a long time materials is new. What's it all about? Let's meet the co-founders of the company. So basically, what we have here is a metal air battery which runs on aluminium, air, and water. So what happens is it is a reaction which happens with aluminium. Aluminium degrades into a hydroxide and it just gives you electricity, and that drives the car. So basically, a lot of innovation has gone into making one of the electrodes of the whole battery. So we are a graphene company and a materials company based out of Bangalore, and we worked a lot on developing that electrode as well. This goes for approximately 300 kilometers when you have to refuel it with water, and at 1,000 kilometers you have to change the aluminum inside. The aluminum gets degraded up to 1,000 kilometers, and it's as easy. It's a 10 to 15 minutes activity. Plus, you don't have to recharge it. It's not a rechargeable battery. It's a refuelable battery. So as of now, so energy density is not an issue, range is not an issue in the technology that we have. It has a huge energy density. Power density is an issue that we've been working with, but it's not an issue. I'd say we've already gone pretty big. We've already grown a lot. And now it's just a development cycle which we have in front of us. It's just in years of development cycle that we have, post which the technology will have the power to drive the car directly and to drive the car in a way that, as you see, the size of the battery is a bit bigger as of now. So we're optimizing to make it smaller so that it can be right below your seats and can function from there.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
So successfully.
Now we are waiting for that, but in 5-10 minutes all the participants will be there.
Yeah. Surely.
और कॉलेज कैसा चल रहा है सर?
सर कॉलेज तो अच्छा चल रहा है.
ऑनलाइन?
हाँ, ऑनलाइन क्लासेस तो रहती है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट कॉलेज भी शुरू है जाना.
हाँ,
एज पर शेड्यूल चालू है जाना. बस अभी तो आज से 12th के एग्जाम्स भी है.
यस. पीसीबी ग्रुप, आई थिंक पीसीबी ग्रुप हो गया ना.
दोनों भी है सर. 1 से 10 तारीख तक पहले पीसीबी है.
या.
आफ्टर दैट फ्रॉम 11 to 20 ऑनवर्ड्स अनदर ग्रुप है. आपका भी वर्क फ्रॉम होम चल रहा सर या कॉलेज जाना शुरू?
यस, नहीं, हमारा वीकली शेड्यूल बनाया है हमारा फैकल्टी का.
हाँ.
तो 4 फैकल्टी अल्टरनेट जा रहे हैं वीक में.
फुल टाइम या जैसे इन शिफ्ट?
एक्चुअली एडमिशन पर्पस के लिए तो 4-4 घंटे के स्लॉट लगाए हमने, मॉर्निंग एंड इवनिंग स्लॉट. और बाकी फैकल्टी फिर 2-2 घंटे के लिए.
अच्छा. जो
भी डाटा कलेक्शन है या फॉरवर्डिंग है, लेटर बनाना है, कुछ तो काम शुरू रहता ही वैसे. अभी सर एक नया प्रोजेक्ट शुरू किया मैंने ऑनलाइन कोर्सेस का.
अच्छा.
So I am working on that for preparing this online courses in Hindi for engineering.
अच्छा.
Civil engineering.
सिविल इंजीनियरिंग के लिए. ओके. सेकंड ईयर टू फाइनल ईयर ऑन, मतलब अप टू सेकंड ईयर टू फाइनल ईयर.
सेकंड ईयर टू फाइनल ईयर सभी सिविल के जो सब्जेक्ट है उसमें जिसमें भी पॉसिबल हो सकता है उसके ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज का कंटेंट डेवलप करने का.
हाँ.
हिंदी में, लेकिन
हाँ जो समझ सके बच्चों को.
हाँ.
अपने यहाँ के थोड़े बच्चे जो रिमोट एरियाज के, उनके लिए थोड़ा सा कंप्लीट इंग्लिश में बोलना टफ हो जाता.
यस. तो बात करेंगे हम लोग बाद में. अभी तो एचटीटीपी का ये वीक सैटरडे तक होने के बाद में.
हाँ बिल्कुल सर.
फिर आपसे बात करूंगा मैं और डिटेल.
बिल्कुल. I guess participants are joining now.
Yes.
ये एससीटीपीस क्या सर 3 सीरीज में कंडक्ट करना है आपको?
अभी 2 हो गए, अभी और एक करना है. वो भी अक्टूबर के एंड में या नवंबर में करेंगे.
सर ये ऑनलाइन है करके इट्स वेल एंड गुड. अदरवाइज टू कंडक्ट द एसटीटीपी इज आल्सो नाउअडेज चैलेंज.
Yes.
To keep the participants available for the complete sessions is a most toughest job nowadays.
Yes sir. But लेकिन it is possible because of online only.
ऑनलाइन की वजह से भी हो रहा हो.
Yes.
नहीं तो फिजिकल अपीयरेंस में जब रहा तो वो टफ जॉब हो गया है वो. रजिस्ट्रेशंस काफी रहते हैं, एनरोलमेंट्स काफी रहते हैं, बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट एट एक्चुअल एग्जीक्यूशन प्रॉब्लम्स होती.
खैर अभी तक का मेरा एक्सपीरियंस तो अच्छा ही है. तो पिछले साल भी मैंने एआईसीटी के कुछ लोगों को बुला के हमने 3 दिन का भी एसटीडी भी रखा था. लेकिन फुल पार्टिसिपेंट्स था पूरा, यानी 100 पार्टिसिपेंट्स ऑल 3 दिन पूरा दिन प्रेजेंट थे.
अच्छा.
बिकॉज़ स्पीकर वाज गुड एंड दे आर
बस वही बात है सर,
एंगेजिंग द पार्टिसिपेंट वेरी नाइसली.
बस वही बात है सर. यार लर्निंग सोर्स मिला, वही सबसे डिसीजन मेकिंग होता है.
यस. और वैसे भी फैकल्टी को एक साथ में बैठाना इतने देर तक बोले तो एक्सपर्ट स्पीकर अच्छे ही चाहिए. क्योंकि ज्यादा लिसनिंग के मोड में हम लोग नहीं रहते.
सर एक बार टीचिंग फील्ड में आ गया ना तो लिसनिंग पावर कम हो जाता, सिर्फ एक्सप्लेनेशन पे ज्यादा कंसंट्रेशन हो जाता और एक वो एब्जॉर्प्शन कैपेसिटी कम हो जाती.
यस. Actually, I am practicing many time. I am practicing to enhance our listening.
Sorry, to
listening बढ़ाने के लिए मैं तो प्रैक्टिस करता हूँ हमेशा.
जरूरी है सर वो. बिना उसके अपग्रेडेशन ही नहीं होता ना.
यस.
बिना उसके अपग्रेडेशन ही नहीं होता. आपका YouTube के सर चैनल्स देखा lessons last HTTP के, they are wonderful. It's a very nice initiative. वो कभी भी किसी को कोई related topic से information देखना है तो it's very good source. बहुत अच्छा है.
इसलिए लिंक भी मैंने सभी लोगों को भेज दी, जितने भी पार्टिसिपेट है या नहीं है. हाँ. सबको लिंक शेयर कर दी हमने. बाकी जिनको ये भी अपने टाइम से देख सकते हो सभी लोग.
राइट. अभी तो शायद यूनिवर्सिटी में स्ट्राइक चालू है या हो गया कवर?
नहीं पता नहीं, अभी आज पता चलेगा कुछ.
अभी फाइनल ईयर के एग्जामिनेशंस का अब तक कुछ स्टेटस नहीं आया.
वो कुछ ऐप का डेवलपमेंट शुरू है, ऐसा कुछ सुन रहे थे हम लोग.
हाँ, फॉर गिविंग द एग्जामिनेशन, जिसके अंदर शायद ये ऑन रहेगा.
नए एजेंसी को जो दिया है उसमें वो यूजर नेम पासवर्ड भी आई कार्ड पे डालने वाले हैं शायद, ऐसा कुछ है शुरू.
अच्छा. इतनी ज्यादा अनसर्टेनिटीज चालू हुई है पीरियड में कि सब ट्रायल एंड एरर मेथड में काम चल रहा है.
यस.
2 बार 3 बार अलग अलग एजेंसीज चेंज हो चुकी है यूनिवर्सिटीज. कभी मार्कशीट में प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है, बट देन अनसर्टेनिटीज फाइनली फिर भी कवर करे. एमसीक्यूज पैटर्न में लाना भी ये बहुत बड़ी बात है अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी के लिए.
ठीक है. उगले सर. उगले सर.
करतोय मी परत. आवाज येतोय सर?
येस सर. नाउ वी विल स्टार्ट. नो
1-2 मिनिटं फक्त. मी ऍक्च्युअली ते कनेक्शन्स करतोय परत.
येस.
1-2 मिनिट.
So, good morning all. I, Professor P.V. Khandwe, welcomes you to this AICTE sponsored 1-week short-term training program on computational intelligence in earthquake resistant design. So today for the day 4, we have again few good experts for delivering the session in this STDP. So now the first lecture will be delivered by Dr. Abhinandan Gupta sir. So I call upon my co-coordinator Ashish Ugle sir to introduce the today's speaker, and then we will start with the session. Ugle sir.
Sir. Very good morning, all dear participants. It's a great pleasure to welcome Dr. Abhinandan R. Gupta sir for the 1-week STTP on computational intelligence in earthquake resistant design. He's having vast experience in structural engineering field. Abhinandan Gupta working as a ME coordinator in the Department of Civil Engineering in College of Engineering and Technology at Akola. He did his graduation, master's, doctorate, and also MBA from Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Amravati. He is having a vast experience in planning manager, Simplex Infrastructure Private Limited, working from 2008 to 2009. Currently, he is working as a faculty in College of Engineering and Technology, Akola, from 2009. Some of the professional recognitions he is having. He is worked as a life member for Indian Work Association, Water Work Association. Also, life member of Institution of Engineers, chartered engineer for IEI, and also life member of Indian Society for Technical Education. Some of the achievements, awards he is having: as a member of board studies for Civil Engineering Department in Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Amravati. He is a member of LEC for Institute Affiliation Committee in Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Amravati. He also a recognized PhD supervisor and post-graduation teacher, Faculty of Science and Engineering and Technology in Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Amravati. He is a member secretary of Research Allocation Committee for Civil Engineering, teaching faculty for doctorate scholars for research methodology coursework. He is having a number of publications in his research areas, and he published over 155 research papers in international journals, conferences. He attended and conducted number of STPs and workshops. He published 7 number of books and reviewed also. Number of workshops and STTP organized by Dr. Abhinandan Gupta sir, 23. He delivered many expert lectures in a number of events. Some of the works and portfolios handled by him. He looked after AICT Affairs Institute since 2013 till present year in 2020 also. Work as a coordinator of EME Structural Engineering since 2012 to till date. He also did the student counseling and welfare in charge of institute from 2016. His expertise fields and area of specializations are: he is working in a structural engineering field on sustainable construction methods and management, project management, earthquake engineering. He guided more than 44 students for ME dissertation in structural engineering field. He also guided 13 batches for the undergraduate in civil engineering. He submitted research proposals to AICTE, DT on sustainable techniques. So it's our great pleasure to having Honorable Dr. A.R. Gupta sir. I heartily welcome him to deliver an expert speech based on seismic resistivity, redefining ancient architectural concepts. So welcome, sir.
Good morning to all of you.
Good
Yes,
morning, sir.
yes, good morning. Uh, First of all, let me take this opportunity to congratulate to the Department of Civil Engineering from the institute, this esteemed institute, who is always engaged in the upgradation and development process for the faculties as well as for the benefit of the students. I would like to thank to the managing committee, to the management of the institute, Principal Ali sir, Khandwe sir, and even Ugle sir, and the entire team, those who are taking the efforts for conducting this STTP and giving the opportunity to exchange the knowledge among the various people. And I am one of such a person who is today over here to just exchange the knowledge and the views about a particular topic that is related to the earthquake engineering. And I guess, sir, we should start now.
Yes, sir. Now you can share your presentation and start the session.
Yes, sure.
Yes, sir. Now presentation is visible.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, let me give you the brief introduction about the topic that I am going to cover over here. That is the seismic resistivity defining the ancient architecture. Now, basically, right from the beginning, we are learning about the various topics that are related to the earthquake, and some about 100 or 100 or 50 years work that is being done by the researchers, that how we can tackle the seismic forces and how we can make the structures more strong so that it can become resistive at the time of the earthquake. But while studying the same topics related to the earthquake and understanding about the concepts that what we can do and what are the mechanisms or the tools and technology present at the recent era, we always ignore the knowledge and the technologies that our ancestors used to do, and that just does not require any of the proof for his successful accomplishment, because if still we can see such monuments and such of the structures that are lasting since 1,000 year, or maybe some of the structures are 3,000 year old. So that is one of the greatest proof that yes, they were quite brilliant than us. They were having the quite strong knowledge about the forces and how to tackle them. And that is the only reason because of which such structures are still existing. And on the contrary, the structures that are being made by us hardly last up to the 70 or 80 years. So it is very important that first we should learn that what is already established in the ancient period, and we should adapt the things from that learnings, because it is a quite justified and a quite satisfied proof, and then we should adapt it in the new technology. Now, while going through the presentation, I have divided the presentation in two parts. Part one will focus on the things that we learned today, that what are the things that we should do, what are the things that we are being taught today, because it is not wrong that whatever is taught is perfectly right. But then soon after that, when we will start discussing about the ancient structures, that will give you the complete new dimension of the thinking, that where we are lacking and what are the things that we are not concentrating more upon. So definitely for comparing that what we are lacking and what we should concentrate, it is necessary that we should know that what we are learning now. So I have just taken a quite a short review of the present learnings related to the earthquake. If the presentation is audible and it is visible to all, should I keep my video on, or if there is any problem, I will just switch off my video.
No, sir, everything is fine now. Please
Okay,
continue.
fine. Sure, sure.
Yeah.
The moment my voice or any video is not coming, kindly let me know so that I
Yes,
can take
sir,
that
yes.
effort. Yeah, sure. Okay. So as I already told you all that we have selected the topic seismic resistivity, redefining the ancient architecture. Now specifically the word architecture is coming over there because as if now we consider in the two parts that the civil engineers are different category learning and the architects are from the different category of learning. However, when we look in the earlier period, there were no such categorization, but there were only the skilled persons, and that skilled persons have the magnificent experience and the uh, like the technologies, and they were not divided or segregated into various parts. The work is always done in the coordination, and thus I have used the word over here architecture. Now moving ahead, yes, so now moving ahead, the first question that should come to the mind is that why should one learn about the earthquake? हमको earthquake के बारे में क्यों जानकारी रहना जरूरी है? Because all are not from the civil engineering branch. Some of the people are from other branches also. But at the same time, you should always keep in mind that life is always precious for everyone, and the knowledge is not waste, and it should always be utilized for the benefit of others. So everybody should know about the things that are good for others as well as themselves. Now look at some of the pictures that are the hazards of the impact
Sir,
of the
your
earth.
presentation is now unlocked. So I think
It is showing pause over here.
please stop the share and then again.
Okay. Again, it is showing pause.
No, you escape from the slideshow mode and then again only just share the PPT and then make it slideshow mode.
Okay.
It was automatically closed.
Achha.
Now you try again.
Again, it is paused. Okay.
You can try to stop your video first and then try to share. Please close the presentation, restart it, and then try again the share option.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it is coming, I guess.
Now, yes, it is clear now.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we were discussing that why one should learn about the earthquake. Basically, the life is always precious, and we all should learn the things that can save the life of others also. So it is just like that. We all should know about the concepts of the earthquake and how we can save ourselves as well as the life of others. Now, these are the slides that will show you the impact of the earthquake on the complete entire atmosphere as well as the environment. Complete collapse. You can see the change in the land surfaces. You can see the landslides as well as the volcanic eruption and the disaster. This is the one of the image that is again available on the Google also. This is the complete collapse and turnover because of the earthquake of the flyover. This is again a picture of a beach which shows the multiple fractures and the damage because of the earthquake. This is the complete collapse. You can just imagine that how hard it is to lose the people under such debris. This is the destructed rail routes. And finally, we should learn about the earthquake because it is causing the unrecoverable losses like the human as well as the loss of animals also. So how much we know about our planet? Just we will take a quick review that earthquake occurs because of the convection current, and there are some of the supporting theories that justify that why earthquake occurs. Basically, there are two theories which says that earthquake is because of the movement of the tectonic plate, that is based on the plate tectonic theory, and the another theory is known as the elastic rebound theory, which says that the earthquake occurs because of the occurrence of fault and release of the strain energy in the form of seismic waves that causes the vibration. So these are the two theories which justify the reason for earthquake. So now these were the detailed explanations that we are not going inside. Now the earthquake gonna occur because of the like you all know, but still I guess it will take hardly a minute. It can occur in the three ways. When the tectonic plates, that means the surface of the earth moves apart from each other, or either it moves towards each other, or they are moving in parallel. Finally, the movement of the tectonic plates is responsible for the destruction. So these are the slides. This you can see the volcanic eruptions and the development of the earthquake. Now, important thing what we want to take out of this slide is that the earthquake occurs majority of the times on the boundaries. Boundaries of what? Of the tectonic plates. There are several tectonic plates that completely makes the Earth's surface, and the earthquake is more felt at the boundaries of such tectonic plates. Okay. Now you can see again in this picture there is the movement of the tectonic plates, and when the two plates move apart from each other, there is the development of the rift. One of the example of the earthquake again because of the convergent boundary is the development of the Himalayan ranges. So what is the reason for explaining all this part is that we are going to study about the structures that are lying in the severe earthquake zones. So how to make out that which zones are severe? So just I have cleared that the locations which are near the boundaries of the plate are more subjected to the earthquake disaster, as well as some of the locations where the bearing capacity of the soil and the underlying stratas is very weak, and which gets under the development of the fault, releases a strong amount of energy. So these are some of the reasons and the explanations related to the earthquake. These are some of the visible photos related to the development of the earthquake. And again, this shows the reason for the earthquake occurrence. Epicenter is a point which is lying at the surface of the ground, while focus is the point from where the earthquake origins. Okay. There are several types of primary waves, secondary waves. Body waves are again classified into Love and Rayleigh waves. So now we measure normally earthquake into two parts. One is the qualitative approach, another is called as the quantitative approach. So the quantitative approach and the qualitative approach are justified by the use of intensity and magnitude. अब एक अर्थक्वेक के अंदर में मैग्नीट्यूड रिमेन सेम और जैसे जैसे डिस्टेंस या लोकेशन चेंज होता है तो उसके इंटेंसिटी में डिफरेंसेस आता है. So these are the intensity scales and everything. We are not going in depth of it. This is the instrument which is utilized for measuring the earthquake, which is called a seismograph. Okay. Now look to this, the map of the India. This is the seismic zoning map of India, and basically you can see that India is divided into 4 earthquake zones. Zone number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now again, some of the locations which are near the boundaries are more subjected to the earthquake, and that is highlighted by the red color. While the locations which are least affected by the forces of earthquake are highlighted by the blue color. So the Himalayan ranges portion you can see over here is most subjected and is lying in the zone number 4 and zone number 5, which indicates that these places, these states are more subjected to the earthquake. You will just understand that why I am focusing on these points later on with the examples. Now, some of the logic that are being taught today related to the earthquake is that the body always remains in its own position. It's try to provide the resistance against the changing state. So this resistance which is provided by the body against the changing state is called as inertia. But finally, we should realize that inertia is a type of a force. And when we talk about the inertia, force is nothing but mass into acceleration. Mass into acceleration. Now, when the movement of the particles in the ground takes place, that means when the seismic waves are generated, we cannot control the acceleration of the ground. So what is in our hand is the mass of the structure. So if we try to change the value of the mass, definitely we can change the impact of the force which is coming on the structure. And from that, we have taken the part that if you reduce the mass of the structure, yes, the force which is acting on the structure will also reduce, and at the same time, the impact will also reduce. So it is being taught that the lightweight material should be utilized for the construction of earthquake. Okay, moving ahead. One of the another learning that we can take out from this slide is that the inertia force act in the opposite direction as that to the acceleration that is being developed in the ground. Now we all know that the movement of the Earth's surface can take place in any direction, in any of the horizontal or vertical direction, but we design the structures for the gravitational force, and gravitational forces are acting in the downward direction. So the resistivity of the structure against the vertical direction is more. However, when we don't make the structures earthquake resistive, the resistivity in the horizontal, that means the lateral direction, is lacking. So we take efforts to increase the lateral resistivity of the structures, that means in the horizontal direction. Now, these are some of the structures that are showing that how the structure collapse if there is a fault, or if the structures are not made with the proper concepts and the proper logic. You can see the structure. First structure is the load bearing structure, and you can see over there it is of the stone masonry walls, and it is collapsed because of the earthquake. Now, what learning we are getting over here is that when the structure is made up of, like when we say that it is a masonry structure, the load is transmitted through the walls. And if any of the wall is collapsed, the structure is subjected to collapse. On the contrary, we say that when we make the frame structures, the load are transmitted through the frame members. And even if any of the single frame member is reducing its strength, or there is a failure in the particular member, it will not directly lead to the collapse. It will give some more time. So the learning what we get from here is that we should prefer to the frame structure. I again focus that we will, in the next section, we will discuss that what we have learned and what the ancestors did. So important things. First thing we learned that we should use the lightweight material. Second thing that we are learning is that we should go to the frame structures and not to the load bearing structures. Okay. Now, related to the shape of the structure, there is again the detail given to the shape of the structures, that the structure should be of a proper geometrical shape such that the diagonal member should pass through the center line of the structures. Again, we will not go in the depth of these. Now, this is again one of the concept that is related to the ponding, which says that irrespective of how strong you make your structure, there is the impact of earthquake on the neighboring structures also. And if the distance between the two structures is less, the impact of one structure on the another is possible, which is called as ponding effect. So not only it is necessary that we should make our structure to be earthquake resistive, it is also necessary that the particular region should be kept in mind to be developed in such a way that collapse of one structure should not create hazard to the other structure. Now, these are the concept of the related to the twisting forces, why the forces are being developed. And it is being taught to us that if the load is concentrated in one section, so we have been taught that if the load is concentrated in one section, that means at a particular location of the building, there is the development of the torsional or the twisting forces. Very brilliant examples are given by the various agencies, including the various renowned institutes like IITs. So many more things that we have learned is that the size of the column should be equal. The columns should be stronger. Normally, the columns are not provided stronger as compared to the beams, but columns should be stronger as compared to the beams. And we have learned that the load transfer path is from slab to beams, and from beams to the column, and from columns to the footing up to the dispersion area, which says that the joints should be very strong to transmit the load. Even we have gone through this part that because of the earthquake, the diagonal cracks are developed in the structure. Okay, these are some of the failures which are being shown. So this is the concept which we are adapting, that the column should be stronger. But irrespective of the figure, I want to tell you, it is shown over here that the weak beam should be utilized over there. There is no such word to use the weak beam. Appropriate load bearing beams, appropriate resistive beams with the strong column should be provided. Now, this is how the structure behaves when the earthquake occurs. Again, this is the important part, because we have learned that the earthquake causes the shearing to the structure. And when the shearing occurs to the structure, the force or the impact of the shearing changes with the height. So we, according to the codal provisions, we consider live load to be 0 at the top surface. So when we carry out the calculations for the story shear, we find that normally at the terrace, the story shear value is less, and then it is more in the next story level, like the top next or the top second or third floor. Maybe because the total amount of story force is more at that particular location. And the maximum shear is at that level, while the base story shear at the bottom surfaces or the bottom floors are less, reducingly less. So this causes the oscillation of the structure also. That means the structure needs to be somewhat flexible, and we should keep the balance, like we should not make the structure too flexible that it is subjected to the more set of oscillations, because again that will cause the vibration and the damages. We have learned that the walls should be such that it should not topple down because of earthquake, because of lateral force direction. We should provide the horizontal band. This is again one of the important learning. What are bands? These are the frames that are provided at the various particular locations. These locations over where these frames are provided work to integrate the structure all together. and it just transmits the load from one end to the another end, and thus making the structure as a whole and integrated. So final learning is that we should provide the various bands. These are some of the locations where earthquake impact is much more. This is again the structure which shows that at various levels we should provide the bands. The structure which is having the band is existing, while the structure without the band, that means at the lintel level, you can see over here, and the structure without the band collapsed. So this shows the importance of the bands. Again, the structure shows that how the reinforcement or everything can help. Now, what we have learned from this is that we should go for the frame structures as compared to the load bearing structures. We should use the lightweight materials. Okay. Just for the next section, please keep in the mind what learnings we are getting. We should provide bands. We should use the material with the high ductile property, and thus we increase the amount of reinforcement in the RCC. We should provide strong columns. Okay. Shear forces are developed, which are acting from the horizontal direction, and thus we provide some of the recent. I will not use the word recent, but yes, there are some of the mechanisms that we use nowadays. Again, look at these mechanisms. Some are called as the base isolators. The work of the base isolator is to isolate the structure from the bottom, so that if there is a movement within the ground surface, that displacement should not get completely transferred to the upper structure. So we provide a cushion over there, a type of a damper which absorbs the forces and even which allow the displacement to some extent, like a roller. So these are the base isolator technique, which is not seen by majority of the people as if now. Not seen means practically we haven't seen that type of the provisions in the structure in common. Even we have not seen such type of the dampers in the structures, majority of the structures for the common people. The dampers are what? They are placed in the diagonal sections, which absorbs the energy, and then this energy is being absorbed and not transmitted to the another end, and yes, thus it acts as an shock absorber. So these are the recent tools that are being adopted and that are suggested for making the structure to be earthquake resistive. Okay. Now these are some of the codes that from where we take the data and we do the calculations and all. Now we have completed one part, and in this one part we have given emphasis on what we are learning nowadays, what we are being taught in the book, what we are learning nowadays. Now we will start with another part, and this another part is related now this another part is related to the ancient structures. I will just start the PowerPoint presentation, second presentation. I hope it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. So we will continue with the part. We have in the first part, we have discussed that what we are learning now. We should go to the frame structures. We should provide the lightweight materials. We should increase the ductility of the structure. These are the learnings that we have learned till now. We should provide the base isolators or the dampers or such techniques for increasing the strength of earthquake. Okay. Okay. So Yes. Now to start up with the various topics, first we will start with the technique which is called as Daogong, and that is from the country we all are quite familiar now. That daily comes to the mind of the people. That is China. Okay. But let me tell you that this Daogong technique is having the origin from India, and the components are being explained in the terms of Indian Sanskrit language. They have even given the names related to these terms. And there was a particular era when the Buddhism transmitted from India to various places. And at that time, the slums or the stupas were constructed in the various regions. And the same fashion of the construction of the architecture got transmitted or got utilized into the various countries, not only in China, but even in Japan, that is quite far away from India. So with the spread of the particular learnings or particular concepts or particular views, these the architectural features and the learnings related to the constructions also got transmitted from one region to the another. This is one of the example which is we can say a wonderful thing which explains Daogong, which explains that we are not in need of high skilled materials, high skilled technology for making the structures resistive that can resist for at least 700 years or 1000 years. Specifically, I am taking the word 700 or years or 1000 years because these the structures from where we have taken this part for learning is around 700 years old. So now we will study about the technology which is called as Daogong, Forbidden City Daogong. Okay. Now, before going to the particular region of the Forbidden City, first we should know that why we have taken the first we should know that why we have taken it the particular city or the particular technique from there only. Let me tell you, there are hundreds of the ancient concepts which says that we can make the earthquake resistive structures. But specifically, I have taken some of the techniques that are from the region which are more subjected to earthquake because that are the greatest example. So here are some of the examples which shows that simply from this slide you can make out that China is subjected to the consecutive earthquake chains, and that too of a major magnitude 6.9, 5.9, 6.1, 6.5 and so on. So this is how the particular country is subjected to the seismic forces or earthquake. Okay, we can make out, yes, we can make out that this country is having a history of 4000 years old earthquake occurrence. Okay. Now we are talking about this particular city which is called as Forbidden City. Forbidden City. This city, the record says that this city is 600 years old and it has witnessed around 200 major earthquakes. It is not a joke. Even a one major earthquake leads to the complete collapse. So it is such a big part of learning that this city is supposed to witness 200 major earthquake, and that too of the magnitude around 7.8. Now we will concentrate what do you mean by the Daogong. Okay, this is the technique which made this country, this city or these structures to resist and to stand till now. So this is the technique which is called as Daogong. Now where it is used, basically the Daogong is used in the pagoda. Pagoda means the structure or the stupas which are provided, and these structures are very tall in nature. These structures are basically made up of the timber, and one of the important thing that we should learn about this structure is that these complete structures are now we are discussing learnings out of the things. These complete structures are very tall in nature. These are made up of timber. Okay. We nowadays says that timber is subjected to the rupture. Even we teach to the students that timber is subjected to the rupture. and we prefer RCC more as compared to timber. But over here you can see that the complete structure 4-story, 5-story, 7-story, even some pagoda means these stupas are of 11 stories and they are still existing. They have not gone to utilize any other material for fixing. So first principle they utilize, the connectivity should be made from the same material. Okay, they are not utilizing the iron nails. They have gone to construct the complete structure with one and the same material to increase the homogeneity. Now, how brilliantly they thought is that they witnessed that iron is rusted with the time when the erosion takes place, the void takes place at that particular location, and because of the presence of voids, the shearing may happen or the failure may happen. So they have utilized the same material for construction. Okay, such structures are called as pagoda. Now we will discuss that how this Daogong. अब ये Daogong क्या है? What is this Daogong? Basically, Daogong is a unique interlocking system between the framework. Columns है, beams है, तो columns और beams के बीच में interlocking के लिए, as nowadays we use the reinforcement bars for the connectivity of beams and columns. They have utilized a particular specific type of support which is called as Daogong, Now this particular method is very unique and it is very simple. How brilliantly they have designed only with the material timber, which says that it allows the displacement in any of the horizontal direction without failure. So Daogong is the series of interlocking wooden brackets used to support the overhanging roof. It has a form of a floating roof foundation on which the building floats, which means that we will discuss it further also. It separates the structure from the ground surface. As if like you are keeping a particular table or a chair on the ground. It is not fixed on the ground. Second important learning, the structures are not fixed with the foundations. The structures are not fixed with the foundation to transmit the load. Okay, this is contrary to what we are learning nowadays, that if we provide the rough foundation, large amount of the forces or the dispersion area will increase, and more the dispersion area, more stable will the structure. Okay, we are going on the contrary. According to these studies, they have not created the foundations. The structures are kept separated from the ground. Now just see that how they are placing. What we are looking over here is the figure of the support they have created with timber material. Okay, so the अब ये इसको place कहाँ करे जाता था? Basically these are provided at above the column and over where these beams are resting. So these particular locations of the joint, over this particular location of the joint, these Daogongs are placed. So alternative Dao and Gong. अब Dao means what? Dao is a solid base and the bow-shaped bracket over the Dao. This is Dao, which you can see in the figure. And then you will see the another member which is coming over it is Gong. Now, before starting the animation, I will just want to tell you that can you see there are two horizontal slots. In simple words, we can see that it is a particular wooden block which is having horizontal slots. Now, what is the importance of this horizontal slot is that if the forces are coming from particular X direction, I guess my pointer is visible. So when we see the forces which are coming from the horizontal direction, it allows the displacement, permissible displacement in one of the horizontal direction. And similarly, if the forces come from the another direction, it allows from this direction. Now, just see how in what fashion this complete support is made. See, this is gong, and one above the other, this complete structure is made. Again, I will repeat it so you can see it minutely, because the further part discussion will be based on it. This is having now 5 slots. This is having 6 slots, and this number of slots increases up to the top. Now, when you see at the top, there is only one arch for resting the beam. I have gone through some of the papers, some of the recent papers that are now being studied in the IIT. Now, this technique is being studied in the IITs. However, there are some of the wonderful experimentation work which is being done in China only, and it is done around a decade earlier. That means they have done quite earlier all this experimentation on the structures. Now this is the video. I guess it will the sound will not be audible because it will be played in the system. But still, I will play this video. It is a complete experimentation work, short video of 2 minutes, which will show you that how this gong is efficient to the earthquake. It is the structure is. I will just tell you in brief. The set of experimentation is made. The structure is made in a particular lab. It is placed on the shaking table, and this structure is consisting of the gong. That means again the support that we have discussed now, and that is subjected to the magnitude of 10. It is out of our imagination that it is subjected to the magnitude of 10, and even after that subjection of high seismic forces, the structure did not collapse. Okay, so I will just play the video now. Sir, while playing the video, voice is coming or not? Video playground is coming? As if now, I will just play. Kindly let me know that the
light voice is there.
Okay.
But now video was stopped now.
No, I have paused it to just ask that the voice of the video is coming or not.
Please start.
So this is being shown over here, that even at the magnitude of 10, this complete structure is stable on the earthquake shaking table, and this is was a quite a brilliant example of the experimentation work of such an ancient technique. And only the special thing in this structure is the presence of the gong, one of the priority things. Apart from that, the another thing which is important in the structure is that the complete structure is made up monolithically. We should not use the word monolithically, but it is made up of the homogeneous material that is completely made up of timber. There is no fixation of any other type of materials. Third important thing that we have learned from the structure is that to make the structure to be earthquake resistive, they did not fix the structure with the ground. They kept the structure isolated with the ground just by not providing the foundations. They have not gone to the thinking that we should provide some support that should isolate the structure like a base isolator, but they have just eliminated that particular element only, that is foundation. And they have made such a stable top surface that even after at the time of the movement or the inertia that develops, this force moves in the opposite direction. It has taken the benefit of the timber flexibility, that it moves in the opposite direction at the time of forces, and it makes the stable to keep it at its own position. At the same time, the horizontal displacement, the lateral displacement movement is allowed. It is not resisted. Again, I repeat, the earthquake forces are not resisted, they are not kept rigid at the supports, but they were allowed to move at some extent by providing the lateral displacement in all directions. If we have seen the Dogong animation that I have shown, the displacement in any of the horizontal direction is allowed with the multiple sockets. Okay, so even if the earthquake comes from any of the direction, the movement of the beam over the columns is very smooth in any of the particular direction, and thus the structure did not collapse. So this is one of the wonderful example. Further, we will discuss now the another technique which is called as a Shin Bashira of the pagoda. And sir, will it be okay to take a 5 minutes break for this? Or
yes, sir.
Yeah, we will start. What time we should start, sir?
Actually, second session we start at 11.
Okay, okay.
But you continue for 15 minutes, then we will take the break.
Yeah, that will do.
And then we will again start the session at 11.
Okay, will do. So
yeah.
We will continue with this another technique.
Yeah, yeah.
This technique is from Japan now. This technique is from Japan. This technique is called as Shin Bashira. Shin Bashira. Again, pagoda is what? It is a stoop. Now you can see in this figure. Can you see the figure properly? In this figure, you can see this is a multi-layered structures, multi-floor structures, and this is called as pagoda. Now, again, the word Shin Bashira is having the origin from the Sanskrit, and as I told, with the passage of the time, the technologies, the methods, as well as the religious concepts also transmitted to various regions of the world. So this is again one of the technique and the technology which is transmitted from India thousands of years earlier. Now we will discuss about the Japan. It is not an unknown fact that Japan is one of the such very highly subjected earthquake zone on the earth. I am using the word on the earth because yes, it is continuously subjected to the earthquakes. And still these structures are lasting from 1,000 years. So why we should not learn from all these structures? So we can just check the seismology of Japan region. So the Japan, you can see over here, the Tokyo and the Kobe region. This is the region which is located at the center of three plates: Eurasian plate, Pacific plate, and the Philippine Sea plate. Now, even if the movement of a single plate takes place, there is the occurrence of severe earthquake. On the part, we can say that all these plates are moving. This, if you say Eurasian plate and the Pacific plates are moving towards each other, and the Philippine plates is somewhat in the inclined direction to the Eurasian plate. And this is subjected to very high volcanic eruptions also. This is subjected to the tsunami. We have witnessed the tsunami disaster. So this particular country and the development that their ancestors did to overcome such impact is worth enough to study. So this is the case study that we have taken. This is the Horyuji temple. This is the Horyuji temple that is located in Japan. It is built up in 607 AD. It is 122 foot tall. Again, I repeat, the structure is 122 feet tall. So now this is the world's oldest wooden structure, which is around 1410 years old. Okay. It is lying in the country which is highly subjected to the earthquake forces, and still this structure is existing. It has witnessed many more earthquake forces that is of high magnitude. So what is Shin Bashira? Now look at this, the figure which explains the concept of the Shin Bashira. This is again having the origin of the Buddhism and the concept which says that the complete structures are made up, or the complete evolution is from the 5 basic components like earth, water, fire, wind, and sky. With this view, they have designed the structure with the stories, basically stories, and all such elements are reflected in the structure by the concepts. Now, Shin Bashira is what? It is the central monolithic column which is provided in the structure. You can see in this structure, this is the central column which is called as Shin Bashira. And this is the central column which is erected from bottom to the top, and that is continuous in nature. Apart from that, what is important in is that this is made up of timber. Again, this structure is made up of timber. Okay. And all these stories, 1, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, all these stories are such constructed that they are acting like in boxes one above the another. These are acting like in boxes one above the another. So suppose you consider that we have taken the wooden blocks 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have inserted a particular rod inside it from the center, and now when the movement takes place, the boxes will move one above the another but will not fall down because of the central supporting column, as we can say, like our spin rod, the spin bone we are having the spine. So similar way they have provided the central monolithic column which is called as Shin Bashira. Now this is the Shin Bashira interior part. You can see over here, this is round, and the central column of the pagoda. Pagoda is what? A stoop is called as pagoda. So this column is not joint at any location. This is continuously from bottom to top, and it is tapered. It is tapered from bottom to top. It is tapered from bottom to top. Now you can see some of the important things over here in the structural elements are shown. The total height of the structure is 32.55 meters. You can see the central location that is called as the Shin Bashira, central column. Apart from that, you can see the base stone. Now, what is the meaning of base stones? They have compacted, they have solidified the base over which the structure will lie. Again, I will repeat, they have not created the foundation. They have made the strong base at the bottom, and then the structure is created. Now the structure is created in such a way that you can, if you see the dimension of the stories reduces from bottom to top. So it is somewhat similar to the pyramid. It is somewhat similar to the pyramid, okay? Because they have reduced the dimension from bottom to top. So this is how they maintain the center of gravity, and the stability of structure. When you go through the various stability analysis of the geometrical shape of structure, you will find that the prism or the tetrahedron, what we say, is having much more stability against the overturning, because the weight is concentrated more at the bottom, and less weight is concentrated at the top. And since it is symmetrical, more stability is achieved when the structure is having pyramidical shape. Now you can see this animation. So in this animation, you can see that at the different level, even though the displacement is maximum at the top while it is a minimum at the bottom, but still the structure works as a monolithic construction, even though they are isolated boxes one above the another. मतलब कि ये अलग-अलग stories को इस तरह से fix किया गया है that they behave in the different fashion of a boxes, and they are tied with the central column. So from where they have taken this concept, they have developed this concept from the movement of the snake. How the snake achieves its stability by standing strong, and they have utilized the same concept. And these structures now these are 1500 and 1400 years old and subjected to high seismic forces, which allow the lateral dimension displacement. Again, I repeat, again in this structure we have learned that they have not resisted the lateral forces by rigid support. They allowed it by providing the separate boxes pattern of floors, and they maintained the monolithic construction or the homogeneity, or we can say the integrity of structure by providing the one central column. Okay. Now to increase the support, even they have provided the diagonal bracing at the lower section, diagonal bracings. So yes, the present researchers of some 50 and 100 years did not found out the concept of the bracings and all. These are quite earlier developed by the ancestors only, and we are just re-utilizing some of the concepts, ignoring the important things that they have developed. So what are the learnings that we can learn from this Shin Bashira is that we need to reduce the mass at the upper section. We need to allow lateral displacement to the permissible limit. We should not try to rigidly fix up the lateral forces. We should allow them to some extent. We should provide the central holding mechanism which should hold the structure in the integration. Center member should be fixed firmly to the ground. No other material should be utilized. Even now, they have not utilized any other material. They have gone through the same material, that is of the timber. We should use the diagonal members for transmitting the load. Now, this is such a common sense that if there are two members and if the forces are coming on a particular joint, so if the forces are coming, it will get transmitted into two members. But rather than there are three members, that means a diagonal member is also inserted. The same force will also be carried to some extent by the diagonal member also. The total forces will be transmitted to three different locations, and thus it will not create impact on a particular point. So there is a role of diagonal members, which is very important. Since they have created the separate floors and they have provided the joints like a doggongs, so they have given the importance to the interlocking. They have given the importance to the interlocking. Utilization of the flexible members, durable lightweight materials like timber they have utilized. So I guess now we will take a small break of 15 minutes, and then we will again continue sharp at 11 o'clock with some more learnings from the ancient structures. Sir, is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So for this session, I will break here this meeting, and the next meeting will again start at 11. And after 10 minutes, we will start the presentation also.
Sure.
So thank you, Gupta sir, and all the participants for being with this for the first session. And again, with the 15-minute break, we will meet at the next session at 11 a.m. Thank you.